Euro 2016, a guide to the new laws in football from May 22nd, 2016. England's friendly matches before the summer's European Championship had been played with the new laws in mind, but 95 changes come into effect on June 1st, and the FA wanted their players to become used to them before the tournament in France. So it agreed with the Turkish and Australian FAs to adopt the laws when England had played them. But it's one of them ones. Now, the changes in language aside, there's quite a few other things that will be different about football from June 1st. But it is one of them was we did discuss a list of changes earlier in the year after 18 months of consultation by the IFAB. We actually did mention this a few shows back, but former referee and IFAB technical director Dave Ellery said the revision would make things clearer for players, officials and fans. So changes include the end of an automatic red card for denying a goal scoring opportunity. Dave Ellery said we should have a much more consistent interpretation across the world because we've made it much clearer what should happen in certain situations. That should reduce controversy and confusion. Many of the alterations are designed to make the language used much clearer. For example, a clumsy explanation of the number of players needed for a match to take place has been replaced by a simple sentence. A match may not start or continue if either team has fewer than 7 players. That also counts in the Southern Amateur League as well. 7 is the bare minimum amount of players you can actually play a match with. But Law 1, the field of play. So these are some of the changes. Law 1, field of play. Logos permitted on corner flags, which were previously banned. Mix of artificial and natural surfaces allowed on the field of play, which had previously been banned. Law 3, the players. If a substitute, sent-off player or match official interferes with player causing the game to be stopped, it will result in a direct free kick or penalty, previously an indirect free kick or drop ball. If a substitute, team official or outside agent stops a ball going into the goal, the referee can apply the advantage rule and award a goal. Now, Law 4, the players' equipment. Players wearing undershorts or tights have to make sure they are the same colour as those worn by any teammates, and they must also match their shorts. A player leaving the field of play to change their boots can only be allowed back on by the referee. Law 5, the referee. Referees have the authority to take action from when they enter the field of play for the pre-match inspection, not from the start of the game. So you can see players in theory sent off for an offence committed whilst warming up, but yellow cards can only be issued from the start of the match. Players injured by opponents who are then sent off do not need to leave the pitch for treatment. So it is one of them ones. Also, it is one of them ones. Law 7, duration of the match. Time taken for drinks breaks can now officially be added on at the end of the game. Law 8, the start and restart of play. The ball no longer has to move forward at kickoff. It just has to move for the game to start. Referees should not manufacture drop ball situations in terms of who takes them or the outcome. Now, determining the outcome of a match. Law 10, deciding which end the penalty shootout should take place is to be done by a coin toss, subject to the condition of the pitch or safety concerns. It is no longer the referee's choice. A team with more players than the other when the shootout starts must reduce the number of takers so they have the same number of eligible players. This will stop teams who have had a player sent off having their better penalty takers available sooner. Law 11, offside. Hands and arms are not included when judging offside. So basically clarifying that any part of the body you can score with. Free kicks for offside can be taken from where the offside player received the ball, not from where the ball was played. Sorry, not from where the ball was played. So basically, free kicks for offside can be taken from where the offside player received the ball, not from where he was flagged offside. For example, if a player's flagged offside, it's my understanding of it. If a player is flagged, if he starts his run halfway into the opponent's half and is flagged then, but he doesn't receive the ball until the edge of the box is where the free kick is taken. Just to clarify that. That's my understanding of it. Law 12, fouls and misconduct. A free kick or penalty can only be awarded while the ball is in play. Denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity in the penalty area is no longer a straight red card unless the offence is holding, pulling or pushing. There's no attempt to play or no possibility of making a challenge, or it's an offence which is punishable by a red card no matter where on the pitch it happens. Violent conduct, for example. So Bruno Alves, let's say, for instance, any offence against a match official will result in a direct free kick or penalty. Violent conduct is punishable by a red card even if no contact is made. It's an interesting stipulation to keep in mind as well. Law 13, free kicks. When fouls are committed off the pitch when the ball is in play, the match is restarted with a free kick on the touchline nearest where the incident occurred. The direct free kick will be awarded for direct free kick offences, and a penalty could be awarded if it happens parallel to the penalty area. Now, Law 14, the penalty kick. Players who feint to kick the ball once they have taken a run-up when taking a penalty will get booked for unsporting behaviour. Feinting in the run-up is allowed, and goalkeepers who come off their line too early will also be booked. See, the wording of this has ever so slightly changed. Has actually ever so slightly changed since the IFAB actually pitched it. Because my initial understanding of this with the initial wording was that you can't do that stagger step BS as a run-up anymore. In theory, you actually still can. It just means that you can stop and stagger and step, but once you're going to swing your foot to kick that ball, you can't hold your foot back and then go the other way. You can't do that. So it's still a bit of a grey area there, personally. But throw-in, opposing players who try and impede a throw-in will be cautioned if they are standing under 2 meters away. And on the corner kick, Law 17, the corner kick, the wording has been changed in the laws to say, and I think this is a good addition, the ball is in play when it is kicked and clearly moves. This is to stop players unsportingly touching the ball and pretending the corner has not been taken to gain an advantage, which we've seen in the Premier League a couple times in recent years. People literally putting it down, touching it, and then just walking away like it hasn't been taken. So to stop that advantage, they've actually changed that. Now, another issue in regards to Euro 2016 regards work. This will count quite a lot for some of the PT family, because firms urged to be flexible with staff during Euro 2016. From the 29th of May 2016, firms should be flexible with staffing during the Euro 2016 football tournament, which begins on June 10th, the conciliation service ACAS says. It has published a set of guidelines to prevent disputes arising if staff want to watch their team in the competition. ACAS said firms should have agreements in place to cover requests for time off, website use during working hours, or watching TV during the tournament. Some games, including Wales v England, are being played in the daytime. So Brendan Barber, who chairs ACAS, said the Euro 2016 tournament is an exciting event for many football fans, but staff should avoid getting a red card for unreasonable demands or behaviour in the workplace during this period. Many businesses need to maintain a certain staffing level in order to survive. Employers should have a set of simple workplace agreements in place before kickoff to help ensure their businesses remain productive whilst keeping staff happy too. ACAS said employees and employers should discuss time off well in advance. Another possible option is to have a more flexible working day with staff working later or finishing early and then agreeing when this time can be made up. Employers could also allow staff to take a break during match times, it was suggested. It is the first time Wales and Northern Ireland have qualified for the tournament as well. Many of the games being held in France have evening kickoffs, but some, including the game between England and Wales, start early in the afternoon. So Brendan said staff may also need to be reminded about the company's attitude to being under the influence of alcohol or using social media whilst at work. Also from 29th of May 2016, it is one of them, as we've said. ACAS said that, yeah, there should be agreements in place. But it is one of them was where football fan David Collins, who works in the public sector in Cwmbran, Torfaen, Wales, told BBC Breakfast that managers should allow staff to watch games as it would boost morale in the workforce. So You know what? Want to throw out a few questions to the Skypers. Number one, and we'll do this in order. The Premier League having the largest representation at Euro 2016, providing nearly 20% of the players for the tournament. Does this mean that the Premier League is the best league? Is the best league in Europe? Also, Euro 2016, the new laws. What is it? What is the law that you think will be most significant? And firms and companies being urged to be flexible with staff during Euro 2016, and it potentially boosting morale to let people watch games. Do you think these are good ideas? It's one of them ones. Ryan Sonley, you want to jump in first, and then let us know who wants to jump in after as well.
Yeah, that law, the law question, I think that offside one, I think that's going to be a lot of a different way, because obviously the way you look at it is if he's offside, if he's made the run when he's actually behind the last defender and he touches it when he's at the edge of the box, the free kick's given there. I think that one's going to be needing some more extra officials, because obviously the linesmen are not going to be able to keep up with it if they're flagging for the offside, the ball's gone to an opposing, a different player of the same team. So, I mean, it's going to cause a bit of grief in football. The other one, I think, is about the corner one as well. I mean, I've seen a few videos of goals being scored when the players just dropped the ball, moved it not even a centimetre, and to be honest, it's technically been touched. So I mean, obviously the ball's in play, and obviously the opposing players are appealing. Well, the corner wasn't actually officially taken, but obviously I think that row is actually a good row.
Definitely. I'm in agreement with you on that one. I mean, Mike Harneman, did you want to jump in on the questions that I asked earlier as well?
Yeah, I think the kickoff rules are going to be quite beneficial, really, because obviously it stops games stopping and starting. Also, I think as long as it's past your own player, I think that should always have been the way. I think, because, it's not going to make a massive difference whether it's past, forward or back an inch, or what I'm saying, a very small margin anyway.
Yeah.
It's not going to make a big deal on that, so I think that's gonna help. Like Ryan was saying as well, the corner one, that's going to be beneficial as well. I think that'll be good, and so I think those two will be beneficial on that. What were the other two questions again? Sorry, I was I only just caught the end of that, what you were saying.
Basically it's about the laws in football, and also the Premier League providing nearly 20% of the players at Euro 2016, more than any other league. Does that mean the Premier League is the best league in Europe? And also firms being urged to be flexible with staff during Euro 2016. Do you think that's a good idea? And also, will it boost morale?
Right, for the firms being able to be flexible with staff, I think that's got the potential to go either way. Obviously, it can be beneficial, but it's got to be done in the right way. I think you can't have too many taking hours off at the same kind of time. Obviously, with England, it's going to be difficult as well, so it has to be pre-booked a couple of weeks in advance, which I think is what was already part of the rule anyway, wasn't it? Part of what they said.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, pretty much along them lines. So, yeah, for England, because obviously it's a big nation. It's it's going to be a lot of people wanting to take it off to watch the game. The Wales game, for example, on the Thursday. So, yeah, I think that could be beneficial, but it's got to be done in the right manner. And, as long as it's not interfering with the company, and the company is still able to make money and to benefit as well, and they're not losing money or customer or anything from it, then it's no harm, really, to be fair. It's going to be beneficial to the staff, and it could actually help them. It depends on morale, obviously. It could help boost morale, but it also could bring it to conflicts as well, possibly, if say you've got an English person there and a Welsh person there who's working for the same company as well. They might be having a bit of banter about the game, but it could obviously go to a bit more of an extreme level, so they've got to be careful on that as well.
But then it is one of them ones, though. ACAS were very careful to say, hey, remember the rule. Basically, remember the rules about posting on social media during working hours, and also being under the influence of alcohol as well. That's another one where it's like they were very careful. Of
course they've got to be. They've got to cover everything that they can. And I remember, I think it was the World Cup back in when was it? I think I was in school, because I remember we actually went in early and watched the games, and we were sort of sat before class watching the games on a big screen. So in that, obviously, it does kind of boost morale in that, and it does kind of bring people together and stuff. So that is beneficial on that aspect of it.
It's a funny one. It's funny you mention that, actually, because in the 2002 World Cup, which was Japan and South Korea, and the kickoffs were really early. We're talking like 7 a.m. and that. It was one of them ones where I was doing a paper round at the time. So it was one of them ones where I was literally finishing my round at like 7:30, and then where did I watch a couple of the games? Kensington Temple, the big church up in Notting Hill. It was one of them was watched a couple of England games up there. So it was one of them was it was literally straight from paper round. All right, go up to there, watch it on the big screen. It was interesting in 2002, and I mean, even oddly enough, the last time France had a major tournament, France '98, the World Cup back in '98 as well. I was in secondary school, second year, and we were studying French. So because the World Cup was in France, my secondary school was actually very accommodating with letting us watch the matches. We were like watching. I think it was England and France matches. We were actually watching. We were watching during classes because of the timings of them. We were watching them during classes, so it was one.
I remember that as well. There were certain games that I watched during classes as well as sort of before and after. So I can relate to that a lot. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be one of them was you'd be in a room down the hall, potentially not watching it, and all you hear is yeah, and it'd be like, oh damn, they getting to watch the football. I mean, from what I remember, it was one of them ones where French class used to actually fall at the perfect time. So it was an interesting one. It was an interesting one. So schools can obviously do that because it's only a temporary thing. So. And at least they've got the get out clause where it's like, well, it's in France, we're teaching French, it's a natural combo. So it could be interesting. I think you're spot on though in terms of it could go both ways. To be perfectly frank, because then you could get people mocking it, but at the same time it's like it's got to be give and take. I mean, you got obviously if you're going to take this time, you got to make it up when the company needs you to make it up. So people have got to be flexible in that way. I mean, Ryan Sonley, did you want to jump in and mention something about France '98?
Yeah, I was only 9 years old when France '98 was actually hosted. But when I was in school, obviously we did obviously there was only a few of us in the class. I think I was year 4, and we basically did so that everyone had a team, and everyone pulled out theirs. I was the last one to have mine pulled out, and funny enough, I actually pulled France.
So kind of like a little school sweepstakes kind of thing.
Yeah,
actually we did that at work. We did that at work for Brazil 2014.
To mention that, I mean, it was also funny that. I mean, I'm going off a bit of a subject here, but I mean, it's still mentioning about a sweepstake. I mean, my mum's boyfriend's brother goes to a pub on a Sunday night to do a quiz, and they pay £2 a week for the sweepstake, and they have 20 teams in this sweepstake, and he had Leicester City, so he won £580 from that. I mean, I was just like, it's mental how things like this has actually happened.
I like the whole idea of kind of sweepstakes because it actually does kind of get everyone into it. It gets everyone really into the spirit. So it's like I know one of my colleagues in 2014 actually drew Germany, and it was like, and I was like, oh, you lucky bugger, because I drew Portugal, and I was like, oh damn. as soon as I drew Portugal, I thought, damn, they ain't gonna do nothing, and it was just funny, where it was like, damn, I draw Portugal and you draw Germany, damn. Because you had the feeling that Germany were going to do something. Don't know about winning it, but it was one of them. There was the feeling they were going to do well. So it was but it is one of them. I love sweepstakes. It just gets the workplace together and gets them into it. I mean, as well as Russ Vernon, did you want to jump in on these points as well? So basically, the three main questions: should firms and companies be flexible in letting people watch Euro 2016 matches? Also, the new laws in football, which have become effective from June 1st, how will they affect Euro 2016? And nearly 20% of the players at Euro 2016 being Premier League players. Does it mean that the Premier League is the best in Europe? What does it mean?
Well, basically what I want to mention about Liam is I just want to jump in about the law changes, if that's okay with you, Liam.
Yeah, how about it?
I think, like Mark said, the corners one's going to be a good one because, like you said, once it's been kicked, like a lot of the teams last season, once the ball had been kicked and being touched by an opponent last season, they were quickly, and then they're running back to take it, to put a cross in, running back, wait for either a short corner or a cross to come into the box to go and end on. Whereas now, if they take a short corner, an opposition player can come running up and then clear it downfield, and they score, and they'll be like, "What? I didn't even took his corner," and the ref will be like, "Yes, you have. You've just took it just now." It's like, well, I don't know. And they probably not read the changes, so I think the changes, it'll be very good. The kick-off one, I think that's a good one as well, because if you play forward, you're more likely you're going to end up losing possession if you haven't got a big man out on the wing. If the opposition's got a big defender at the back, they're more likely to win it and come back higher, so now you can play back to your defenders. That's more of a good one as well, and so I think that's very, very good there for the law changes. I mentioned a little bit about a sweepstake. I've done my own one for this Euros tournament for the PT family, which I'm just finished writing up now, Liam. And if that's, I'll just give a quick mention of some of the moves, some of the teams who people have got the teams for, Liam, if that's okay with you, just very quickly.
Yeah, it's got to be quick, just due to time.
Yeah, we'll do. Well, for you guys, you Gezzie and Gman, I put you all together this time. You three have got Portugal, Switzerland, and Turkey. Mike, you've got Croatia, Wales, Slovakia. Tom, you've got Russia, Hungary, and Germany. JBK, you've got Iceland, Sweden, and Northern Ireland. Brad, you've got France, Spain, Italy. Rye, Poland, Belgium, Czech Republic. Sophie and Rachel from Girls on the Ball, if you're listening back to this, you've got Romania, Albania, and Ukraine. And I've got England, Austria, and the Republic of Ireland. And I'll let you know at the end of the tournament who's won. So stick around for that on PT Live. Back to Liam.
Just want to say a quick welcome to JBK as well. Jamie, just want to ask your thoughts actually. What do you think? I mean, firms have ACAS has said that firms should be flexible with staff during Euro 2016 in terms of letting people watch games and making up the time elsewhere and that kind of thing. And they've also said letting staff watch games will boost morale in the workplace as well. What do you think about that? And also, in terms of the Premier League having the largest representation, nearly 20% of the players at Euro 2016 are actually from the Premier League. What do you reckon about that? Because 103 out of the 552 players actually come from the Premier League, and also it's one of them ones where Liverpool and Juventus being represented by 12 players, 11 from Tottenham, 10 from Man United, and 18 of the 24 countries containing players from the Premier League. What are your thoughts on those two?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'll just address quickly, Ross. Might want to switch that Northern Ireland to the Republic of Ireland on my side. Thank you very much. So that sweepstakes a bit more fair. We're talking in general. No, I'm joking. In terms of the representation, it does make the Premier League look fun, but I'm always going to go back to this point of the future. So, will they still be there by Euro 2020? Maybe not. And it probably will say that the Euro 2016 is probably the Premier League is probably the best in the world at the moment. As you look at it with the Copa America, it's pretty much got European-based players in it. So Europe pretty much has the best continental leagues in the world, not just down to money, but also down to the way that we play. Look at South America. Yes, they won the most World Cups, but it's not. Most of them would rather come here before they go back again, just to kind of earn their living and then make a life for themselves back in their hometown. In terms of the companies allowing their employers to watch the Euros, yes, it will probably boost morale, but companies don't work on morale boosting figures. They work on numbers and statistics. So will they on based on morale? Yes. The likelihood is no, because business still runs whether the football stops or not, regardless. I haven't seen the rule changes, but again, if they are affecting the Euro 2016, I think they should have just done it after the Euro 2016. It would have been a lot more easier than just making changes to the rules before the tournament starts. June 1st is way too close to change the rules for everybody to get used to as well. And if it's on the pitch, then fair enough. But if it's to do with logistics and stuff like that behind the scenes, yeah, too late. All in all, sounds like this is going to be a tournament for the ages, as everybody was talking about. France '98 and all others. Here's a bit of a statistical analysis I've checked. France, along with Brazil and I think another country, are the only three that have had it longer, had the World Cup and the Euros in the same sort of general era, or around the same generation, more than England. That should tell you everything about how England's chances. They still can't get in the World Cup. Although they've had it once, they've only had the Euros once, and France and Brazil have had it twice in the time that they've been trying to win the World Cup again.
Well, so it's an interesting one, because Euro 96 was actually the first international tournament I watched, and it was those who know my history in football will know why, will know the reason behind that. But I mean, Euro 96 was amazing. I'd love to get a major international tournament back over here again, whether it's a World Cup or a Euros. Because the BBC actually have been replaying Euro 96 games, and they've got one coming up this Wednesday, the semi-final of Euro 96, England-Germany, with that heartbreaking moment with Paul Gascoigne. So it's one of them ones. I mean, BBC have really been kind of heavily promoting it as well. And I think there's a documentary back to 96 or something like that with Alan Shearer. That's on BBC iPlayer at the moment as well. So it's one of them ones that the ramp up is really there. I think it was England-Scotland they replayed last week. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how this pans out. I think it's one of them ones where, yeah, I think firms should be flexible in letting people watch Euro 2016, and it will definitely boost morale. But at the same time, you've got to be kind of realistic, because if you're too flexible, then not only will you get some people taking advantage, but also it will be one of them ones where you leave yourself very thin on the ground, and those who are not into football, it could end up being counterproductive, where the ones who love football are really happy because they're getting time off, but those who are not into football are getting the short end of the stick, which isn't really fair, because they will be the ones who have to pick up the slack in terms of work. So it is kind of an odd one. And I mean, it's one of them ones. This flexibility thing could also become risky when it comes to the knockout stages, because let's hypothetically say England get to the final. It'd be one of them ones that you can't plan that in advance because you ain't got a clue who's going through. So that will leave stuff kind of a little open. In regards to the Premier League having the largest representation in France, I don't think that means the Premier League is the best league in Europe. I think it means that the Premier League is the most exciting, because those 103 players have wanted to come to the Premier League because of the money, because of the excitement, because of the way the league is. It's a case of, I think it's one of them ones where it means the Premier League is the most exciting, not necessarily the best in terms of quality. It's just electrifying, and that amount of players being taken from the Premier League it's just one of them ones. It's going to get eyes on TV sets and butts between 12 inches, so to speak, and butts on seats. So it is one of them ones, because it's interesting that Spain's La Liga has only got 34 players. That's why I say it's one of them ones. It's not necessarily the best. I mean, Liverpool, my boys, were 8th best in the Premier League, and we've got 12 players going to Euro 2016. So it kind of tells you from all you need to know, really. So it's interesting that 18 of the 24 countries contain players from the Premier League. It is one of them ones. I mean, as Jamie Bailey said, it's a case of Europe is where people want to be, and especially in the English Premier League. The draw is there. The draw is definitely there. In terms of the new laws, a lot of them are kind of ancillary damage, to be perfectly frank. Some of them are just language clarifications more than anything. Some of them are just reiterating older laws. The referee one's interesting, because referees have authority to take action from when they enter the field of play for the pre-match inspection, not from the start of the game. Quite like that one. You could actually get sent off for an offence committed while warming up. That's kind of an interesting one, because could be dangerous territory in theory. But time taken for drinks breaks officially being added at the end of a game. Yep, fair dues, because it is a break in play, so that should be added on. The ball no longer has to move forward at kickoff. That's one of the bigger ones. I think it was a little unnecessary, to be perfectly frank, as a change, but it will make things a little interesting, because you're going to see different things happening. Hands and arms not included when judging offside. Well, the law was any part of the body you can score with. Legally, you can't score with your hands and arms anyway. So that rule is kind of much of a muchness. That's just clarification of an old rule for me. Free kicks or offside can be taken from where the offside player received the ball. I don't know, to me that's kind of muddy in waters a touch. I just think it's one of them ones where it's like, no, just keep it as it is. Where it's like, right, that's where he started his run from, that's where he was flagged offside, not where he receives it. That doesn't really make a great deal of sense to me. Denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity in that, yep, discussed that before. Very much happy with that rule. It's that kind of I think it's triple punishment, double jeopardy, whatever it is. All right, fine. That I've got no problem with. The penalty kick thing, like I said a few minutes ago, I think it's a missed opportunity. That whole feinting in the run-up, I would have outlawed that too, because I hate that stagger step BS. I really do hate it. I don't like it. It's cheating to me. But it's one of them ones. Goalkeepers coming off their line too early, being booked. Happy with that. Feinting to kick the ball. I think that and feinting in the run-up should have been disallowed. It should be one of them ones where it's like straight run-up. That's it. Done. Yeah, the wording change in the law to say the ball is in play when it's kicked and clearly moves is to stop players unsportingly touching the ball and pretending the corner has not been taken to gain an advantage. Fine. Glad that rule's finally been bloody clarified, because it's a few years too late. But hey, better late than never. So a lot of these rules, as said, are kind of language changes. The new laws, they're language changes, which is fine and dandy. But a lot of them were clarifying stuff that really should have been clarified from years ago anyway. So it's one of them, or some of them are very much of a muchness.